We're already live.
Yeah.
Who knew? You'd think I'd have this down by now, but it is Thursday, March 23rd, 2023, 3/23/23.
Yep.
Isn't that exciting?
One too many times at work today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm just saying it from
See, you don't have to go to the office anymore, so you don't have to deal with that.
talk about that at all at my workplace.
Right. Your workplace right over there.
Yep. My workplace, my fun place. So
jam-packed, action-packed,
sports-packed, sports day, full of fun. Buffalo Ghosts, sports gods.
Huh? I don't feel that way.
No?
Not what the Sabres play recently.
Whatever do you mean?
Not too good. Not too good lately.
Why don't you tell me about it?
Well, they've lost
a lot.
4 out of their last 5, maybe? Or
like
4 straight?
And more.
Yay.
Isn't it like 9 of their last 10 or something?
Yeah, they've given up the most goals they've given up
since 1992
over like a 4-game span
stretch
at home.
Right,
because they were demolished by Dallas 10-4, then lost to Boston 7-0, lost to Nashville 7-3. All of those being at home. It
was ugly.
Their last win came against the Maple Leafs, but they've lost their last 4.
I blame Greenway.
And they lost like 8 out of the last 10.
Yeah.
So, I don't know who I blame. You got Granato changing the lines. You got not good goalie play, but you got not good play from the team in general either.
Well, I think that they've shown when Tage doesn't score, the rest of the team has trouble getting going.
That's sure.
Right? Cousins seems to be able to score on his own.
Yeah.
But teams have sort of caught up with Tage at this point.
Or at least
or Tage is tired.
Yeah.
It could be a lot of things. Darlene won on a streak of -10 over 4 games.
I'm sorry, who did? Thompson?
Darlene,
yeah.
It took him out of the Norris race, most likely.
Yeah, it's been not the best. Like I said, it's been not the best goalie play. It's been not the best play from the team.
The goalie play has been terrible. The defensive play has not been great.
Well, what do we think this is? Do you think they're just tired? They are a bunch of young kids, right?
For the most part.
I don't think a lot of them.
So does that? I think it's a lot of things. I think you swap in Hinnistros. I think you trade for Jordan Greenway, who has scored 3 goals all season and 6 points, and you immediately put him on the first line without him earning it, without him doing anything. You say, we just got this guy, and we're playing him on the first line.
Yeah.
Because Tuck's hurt. So That's what we're going to do. They don't promote Quinn. They don't throw Krebs up there. There's a million things. Throw Okposo up there. If you want. Okposo was working there fine. At the beginning of the season. When they first broke in, and there's CJ. Thank you for joining. We appreciate your company.
Of course.
It's 32323.
Audio good?
Yep, you're loud and clear.
Perfect. Good. That's what I like to hear.
So we're talking about the Sabres and our frustrations, what they've been doing wrong, what they haven't been doing right. Tage went on a 8-game streak where he didn't score a goal.
Yeah. You're not getting secondary scoring again. it seems like it's Dylan Cousins, and then everybody else is like non-existent.
Well, I mean, there are weird things that Granato has been doing, and it's like you can't keep testing the waters at this point of the season when you're going for it. But it was like Jost and Paterka score goals, and then the next night they're both on the bench.
Yeah,
I mean, they're both sitting, and they're sitting for Olofsson, who sure he has a lot of goals, but he's not good.
yeah.
He's not good. I mean, he just isn't good. And they sit him for Olofsson and Greenway again. And I mean, I think we're lucky Greenway got hurt.
Yeah.
Because the trade is very frustrating now looking at it. I mean, you can't evaluate it right now. Right?
It's also maybe they just weren't ready for somebody like Greenway yet. Like, I don't know, like maybe I think they need like a goal scorer, but they don't need like two-way players anymore. They need like somebody who they can trust with the puck. And like we think that's supposed to be Tage, and that can be Tage, but he needs a running partner. And like to me, that's not
Skinner
Tucker's.
and Tuck. I think they can roll with him.
No
problem.
They can.
I mean, this is the first season where what is it? 5 guys with 30 or 25 goals. At
Yeah.
least.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I felt like Tage's line has accounted for a lot. Maybe I'm wrong, but
No, you're not wrong.
No, I'm not saying they haven't accounted for a lot. I'm just saying and I'm not saying that Skinner
no.
and Tuck can't run with him. I just think they need like a step up from that.
Yeah, no, I wasn't criticizing your point. I was just saying that to say, like, I remember, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years ago when there was the Skinner, the line with Skinner, and I can't remember who else was on it. But they like midway through the season, I think we had like 11 losses or something crazy. Like we were doing really good, and then fell off the next half of the season. And I remember them saying
Kruger's
that
first season, right?
Yeah. Yep. And I remember them saying that, the line play that like the amount of goals you were getting from one line is just not sustainable through a whole hockey, season. And that's kind of the similar thing that we're in now, where you have a one line doing a lot of the work, and you don't have consistency across all of the lines that you need to be a serious contender in the NHL. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but that's kind of like it's been a reoccurring theme for a few years.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like they weren't meant to be contenders this year.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So it's sort of like a mixed expectation thing, because now you're let down.
Right.
But if you went into the season
saying we'd be here, people would be laughing at you.
Or that they're not going to make the
playoffs. Right. But if you went into the season being told that in March there are going to be meaningful Sabres games, that there's a chance in
early March.
Yeah.
Yes. When's the last time that's been the case, though?
No, I agree.
So, I mean...
Oh, yeah, it's definitely better than what any real fan should have expected. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's tough when you get to this point, and then, you know what I mean? That's like the hardest part. It's just like you have a chance, and whether it's coaching or players or whatever, it's tough to put it on one, but it's like it just sucks. You know what I mean? It's like, man, nobody expected this. Now we have it, and then it was like gone.
Yeah. I mean, my thought with I think they need to take the pressure off Tage to be the one to make the play. You know what I mean?
Continue.
Like, I think if you're able to get somebody who can also predict where Tage is going to be, besides Tage setting up, more often than not, it's Tage setting up Skinner and Tuck, in my opinion, more than it is the other way around.
I think all three of them are knocking it and have pretty great chemistry. That's part of the problem. I think Skinner and Tage especially have really good chemistry, and then I think Tage and Tuck have good chemistry. I don't know that Skinner and Tuck have good chemistry.
I just feel like if you were able to bring, like, I know we're not getting him, but it's like seriously, if you're able to bring in somebody like a posture, you know, who could like,
Well, of course,
I'm just saying, just like a step up. I think that's what they need to go for. I don't know if they need to go for like the two-way players. I don't even know if they need to go out and get defense either. I think you have to look at premium goal scorers and you have to look at goalies.
Mm-hmm.
So
because I think you can ship UPL out the second Levi shows he's who we thought he was.
Ched, well, a lot of people have been putting their next year's Sabres lineups out on Twitter. And Chad Demonics,
I think it's
Demonics, who's a reputable person more than
yeah, he predicted Levi.
He knew Levi was going to sign. He knew Portillo was gone. He knew a couple other things, and he had a couple interesting things. He had them signing Hannafin, or trading for Hannafin rather, to be in their top four. Obviously, he bumped down Yoki Haru and put him with Labushkin then. You don't seem in love with that, but you don't like Labushkin.
I don't like Yoki Haru. I just don't think he fits. Like, I don't know.
Maybe on the third defensive
maybe.
pair.
Yeah, maybe.
Right? Where he's not trying to do as much. He signed Tristan Jerry.
Okay.
3-year deal, $18 million.
Good with that.
Was what he did as the bridge goalie. He had from Tampa, who's a free agent, Kozak. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Tyler Kozak.
Yeah. And then I don't think I'm right. I don't think that's who I'm.
Yeah, who are you thinking?
I would need to see a Lightning roster. Oh, that's convenient that we have one.
Yoo-hoo. The power of Googling.
Keep going. Killorn.
Oh, Killorn. That is not Kozak.
So
I like Killorn though.
Killorn is good. He felt like you could get him for 2 years, $7 million. Maybe it was $7 million. No, that doesn't make sense.
But they have the space. I mean, that's the thing though. Is yes, they did all this, but they still might not be able to convince people to come without paying a little bit more than other teams.
Maybe not. Because I don't know what all this is, right? Because at this point they have 72 points. Well, that's not good.
Yeah, sure. But I mean, they still did what they did this year, and
they have 10 games left, right?
Yeah.
And they're so what do you say? They have one of the hardest 10 game stretches here. Or they finished with like the hardest 15 game schedule out of any team in the league. And that just makes it even more difficult. But this 10 game stretch isn't going to get them a ton of points. If they go, let's just say they go 5-4-1 or something, and that pulls you out with 9 points in the end.
Yeah.
Right? So you end up with 81 points.
I mean, you're what, 10 points away from being in contention?
No. Right now,
I'm saying if you finish the season, I mean,
Yes, what if you
Pittsburgh's
look-
at 80?
Pittsburgh's at 80 right now.
Yeah, with
So
11 games to go.
that's what I'm saying. If you finish the season with 81, well, I guess, yeah. 10 points out, 15 points maybe.
Yeah, I think they would be in that range. 10 to
95
15
is
points out.
usually the number people think about.
Yeah.
But that's for the end. I mean, if they would have made the playoffs this year, right, they would have
bounced around
4 games and out,
probably.
right?
I
mean,
maybe-
Anderson has
maybe
finally,
you have
Anderson
one.
has shown his age. UPL can't stop the puck. Comrie is whatever the heck he is. And you know, all of that kind of stuff. So like I'm trying to remember the other guy he had, because he had another good guy. He had Okposo gone. He didn't talk about really who the captain would be. So a whole argument started about who the captain would be.
So there's like 18 guys to choose from. Like,
It's Darlene. They're gonna give it to Darlene, right?
I would have. I would think
You can't sign a guy and give him the captaincy, right? Like a guy who walks in the door, you can't be like, you're captain.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're gonna. I meant there's 18. There's a bunch of guys to choose from. There's 4 guys to choose from probably on the roster.
Who?
Well, Tage, Dolan,
Tuck.
and then you could say Cousins.
They're not.
But
I hope
he's
they're
an
not
outside
stupid.
looking
I hope
in.
they're not stupid enough to give it to
I mean,
Cousins.
he's at the end, but I think
like
could
I
be
got
one
in
of
an
the
argument
guys.
about a guy with a guy who wanted to give it to Tuck, and I said Tuck doesn't have to be captain to do what he's doing, and that's my take on Tuck. Like, you don't need to make him your captain because he already loves the
He's
team.
the safe choice.
He is a very safe choice.
Yes.
And yes, he's under contract for a while. I wouldn't give it to Tage either. I don't know that Tage can handle that.
You would only be giving it to Tage because he's your quote unquote best player. So like that's why he's an option.
Is he your
to
best
me.
player or is Darlene? Because that was one of the arguments was, oh, you don't just give it to your best player. And it's like, well, Darlene feels like he's been around forever, right?
Right.
But he's still 22, something like that.
Yeah, his birthday is a day before mine.
Oh,
so he's 23 or about to be
23.
But I mean, he already has an A. So I mean, like giving him the captaincy isn't that.
It doesn't. I think he's well respected within the room. He has gotten more vocal under Granato. We know he has a good relationship with Granato. And we know that Granato gets the best out of him. If you plan to keep Granato around and Granato at minimum thinks Granato's going to be around.
Yeah.
Right? Then I think Darlene's the logical choice. Not because he's your best player, but because I think he's earned it. I think he's earned it.
Are you saying giving it to him over Tage? Is that the argument you're making?
Tage or Tuck. Yeah.
Okay, so question: when did McDavid get his first captaincy?
Like his second season.
Okay.
Crosby was given it as a rookie.
Interesting. I don't know.
Stamkos was.
No, I'm not saying Tage is on that level, but I also do think
one.
that, you know, when you have a guy who's the center, you know, getting a lot of the point scores, and you know what I mean. Like, I don't know. It's tough because guys feed off of energy, guys feed off of communication, stuff like that, but they also feed off of like what guys are doing. You know what I mean? And if there's a guy that is a step above, like they're gonna look to him to make the move at the right time. You know what I mean? So like,
but your captain has to be your best player. Like in my opinion. Your captain isn't your best player.
Captain has to be
Your
the smartest player, in my opinion, or the knows the ice the best. I mean, I get it. I get what you're saying as far as that. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. I mean, I think
I just see how the
he's
trend
got to
in the
be
NFL.
respected by
Yeah.
his peers in the room.
Yeah.
Respected by the coaches. He's got to be a leader, someone who and to me he has to be somewhat good. I mean, the problem with Okposo being your captain this year is the downward trend of his game and how slow he's gotten over the year. You know, he started the year off being, I mean, he's always not been fast or anything, but he started the year off being okay, I think. But I think just the wear and tear on the older guy has sort of just taken its toll on him.
Well, and I mean, like, yeah, a lot of these guys, like Dallin, came from playing in Frölunda, which is in the SHL, which is also uber competitive. That was also only 41 games, and like, yeah, he's been around the NHL for a long time. But like last year, he didn't have a full season. Year before that, he didn't end up finishing the season because of injury. And like, none of these guys, outside of Skinner and Tuck, who are still performing, like the rest of them have never had a competitive season like this, like where you had to keep going. There's never been like, yes, there's been let up and they look tired. I know that, but it's different when you're playing in the NHL, and that's that's what everybody says all the time.
Here's the thing about Dahlin playing in Frölunda. Okay, it's like he was playing in his last 3 years in Frölunda in the the guys older than him league, right? And
I'm not saying he doesn't. I mean, he's been in the international stuff and he's been in, and I'm just saying, I think like overall, none of these guys really have the experience of what it takes to go through I don't want to keep talking up the NHL, but it's like it is competitive, and it's competitive in their division, because I mean, if you look at, they've had to squeeze in a lot of divisional games right near the end, and you're playing teams like Tampa and Boston, 2 out of the 3 nights. That's not easy for a team that's trying to that knows that they're good, but still needs to find that next gear. That's the problem. They don't know where that next gear is yet, and I think that them going through this and them going through this end of the season and then looking tired and not playing well, it's going to be up to Granato to keep their heads in it for the rest of the year. But this would be a very big learning opportunity for next year, because next year we should be fighting all the way through. So if they're able to figure it out in the offseason going into next year, it should help not have this happen again. And also, if they have a good goalie.
Did you tell him to be home?
I told him I would come get him.
Goalie's important, which is where Tristan Jarry comes in.
Well, come get him soon.
I mean, you gotta love that idea.
No, I do love the idea. I'm just not gonna put money down kind of thing on it. That's all. Like that's all. I was just saying. Like,
if you
just
offer
in general,
Tristan
you gotta
Jarry,
have a good goalie.
If you offer Tristan Jarry $6 million a season for 3 years,
I think you would do it.
I think you would come.
Yeah.
The other, though, Chad didn't have Jarry. Now that I think about it, he had Carter Hart.
No. Okay.
Carter Hart coming here, which might be good. And then he had his backup being UPL, and then he had Comrie in the AHL with Levi. Yeah,
I mean, I feel like if they were ready for him to play in the NHL, they probably would be speeding up the process of getting him out there.
Right.
They seem to be slow playing this.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they just said, hey, I guess the frustrating part is you're burning a year of his contract while not playing him.
Yeah.
at
Well, I mean,
all.
we also don't know. I mean, maybe he plays like the last like 2 games or something.
Yeah.
But they really seem to be dragging their feet and taking their time.
Yeah. And so remember when we were talking about at our last one about how contracts get burned and years of a contract get burned, I mean, if I found out what it was players over 20 versus players under 20. So if you're signing them when they're over 20,
you burn the year.
You burn the year.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. So that's why you try to get the guys,
Right.
But
oh no, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. I mean,
Granato's not going to get fired.
It's not like they're bad either.
Granato's not going to get fired.
Yeah.
Right.
I just think they're exhausted. I honestly, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to like cop out, but like I'm willing to just sit here and be like, yeah, they're tired.
Here's what Granato said. Did you watch his post game after the last game?
No.
He was basically like, "We will get through this."
Yeah,
that's what he said. He's like, "We will get through this." He's like, "The guys in the room are too good and too hard-headed, competitive." Yeah, was a better word. Is a better word. Competitive to like not want to finish the season strong.
Right.
He's like, we're still theoretically in a playoff spot, like those kind of things.
Yeah.
And
I mean, if you have things go your way, there's a chance here.
Win out.
Right.
I mean, that's what I said.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was talking to the team, I would walk in the locker room and you want a captain, I would go win out. And then I'd walk out of the room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's what you need. You need the guy who says, well, let's pick your feet back up, put your heads up, deal with the line changes, deal with whatever, and go win out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
so let's beat Jersey and Boston and
yeah.
The
Rangers
and the Rangers. That's a tough feature here.
Well, I mean, hey, I mean, as long as here's the thing, like every single time there's been a collapse, it's not like they haven't been competitive. It's just at a certain point, it's like something happens and then like the floodgates open. Like they were competitive with Boston until the third period.
Right.
And then they just lost it. In Boston just turned it on and found like a different level and just dominated.
I remember well, yeah, and it happened in the second period of the other game, right? Nashville.
Right.
I think. Where it was 2-1. It was 2-0 Nashville, then it was 2-1. You felt like the Sabres were back in it, then Nashville scores 5.
Yeah.
And you're just 5 in 10 minutes. That went well.
Nothing was worse than the Dallas game.
Only because you were there.
I mean, what? It was 5 goals in the third period, or am I? Four or something like that.
It was 5.
I mean, the final score was 10-4. So
yeah. So we're gonna start a 0. We want 1.
Okay.
Chant tomorrow. So if you haven't figured out, listeners and viewers, Noah and I are going to the game tomorrow.
Yeah.
What so
next?
I no. Let's just finish this on a note. I was trying to remember the other thing, and it was ship out Olofsson and Middlestat together for a 2-way forward.
Okay. I don't know. They don't need. I mean, how many 2-way forwards do you need? Cousins is a 2-way forward. Greenway is a 2-way forward. You could make the case that Tuck is a 2-way forward. You could make the case that Gergensen is a 2-way forward. You can make the case that Krebs is a 2-way forward. You can make the case that Patrick is a 2-way forward. I'm like,
what do you want? Guys who just cherry pick at
I don't know. I want
just a bunch of Ovechkins
I want
on your
a
team.
60 goal
Right.
scorer. How about that?
How many?
I want a whole team of Ovechkins. Sounds great.
I
Right.
want a whole team of McDavids, actually.
Um,
I
30
don't
years
know. I just
ago.
feel like they have superstars, I think. And I think Tage is growing into a superstar. Dahlin
Cousins
either
probably.
or is growing into one. I think Cousins is growing into the superstar that everybody thinks is like, oh, you give so much.
I love
and
you.
you're also like do really cool things sometimes. Yeah.
Right.
And like,
Well, he's not afraid to go to the net. He's not
Yeah.
afraid to throw his body around. He's not afraid to fight. You know, he's a two-way forward, so he does
Right.
back check.
Yeah.
I
I just think they need like another one.
another two-way forward.
They need another superstar.
Hold on, guys. Give me 1 second.
A
Sure.
pure, true, awesome
Look-
superstar.
Well, bringing in Hannafin's a start,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Signing a good goalie
Yeah.
is a start,
I just
whether it's
need
Hart
offensively.
or.
I just feel like that would be
But-
just so helpful.
But those are
Our
other
stepping
ways
stones.
of addressing it.
Yeah.
Right. It's like there's a million different ways you can address it. And like segue. Let's keep talking hockey till CJ gets back, actually.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I mean, I understand they need another superstar. You don't
But,
just
like,
come by those.
I
Come
know.
by those. And the other thing is Coolidge, right? Next year you need space for Coolidge. You need space for what's his face, and you need space for the other what's his face. And like, how do you? You got to find it. You got to have these guys in the NHL next year.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I just feel like I guess yeah. I mean, if yes, if Savoy and Kulich and them can come up and
Oh,
play
Savoy,
the
he left in
way-
the WHL.
if they can come up and play the way Savoy's been playing in WHL and the way Kulich has been playing in the AHL, like then obviously
Coolidge
I
is
think your
playing
problem is
in
solved.
Buffalo next year.
Yeah, it's just
He's playing in Buffalo next year. So Savoy, I can see going either way depending on camp,
yeah,
right?
right, because he's still playing in the WHL. I mean,
Right.
not to take anything away from him because he's like putting up 50 points or 60 points in 20 games
And doing
or something.
amazing, doing amazing stick work and footwork and
Yeah,
skate work and helmet work and
yeah, he's good right there. But I don't know. I feel like if they had one more offensively, like if they had just another guy who was able to be like, I know where everyone is. I know how to set up people and I know how to score. Like if they had another one of those guys.
how about a left winger to replace Paterka, move Paterka down to the third line?
Yeah,
So
I mean, he doesn't even have to be
somebody in your
paired with
top six.
Thompson,
How
right.
about Alex Killorn?
Sure. I don't know. Yeah.
He's a two-way forward, though.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but he does provide offense, and he would be good. I think he would be a good pairing with Cousins because they're both big.
Killorn, Cousins, and Quinn.
Yeah.
That sounds nice.
Well, yeah, because you would have Quinn's speed, and
And
they're all
shot.
fast. Right. They're all fast, but I feel like Quinn is just sometimes can like hit this second gear where
Which
he
is
just
interesting.
like skates. He's straight speed.
Straight line skater.
Like his straight line skating, he just literally is able to turn around defensemen. Like he did that to Hedman.
Yeah.
Nobody does that to Hedman. You know what I mean? Like
Tage does that to everybody.
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the good players are able to do it.
But I mean, one of the
Quinn shouldn't be
the
able to do it,
knock
is
on
my
Quinn
point.
coming out was that he was too slow.
Right, and I did. Yeah, I don't. That's not true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
just-
mean, clearly he's worked at it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what they said. This entire team is hardworking guys, right?
Right, and they also talk about how close they are and that kind of stuff.
Right.
Which
is
is
why I
like-
think Middlestat will be back too. I think he'll be back.
He will be
he
because
just
like,
has
he
all that
put in
heart.
enough effort.
He has
Yeah.
that heart thing,
Well, I
right?
mean, what
where it's like,
was he the one?
man,
Yeah.
I see you trying so
Yep,
hard.
Yep. Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, right. I was just about to bring that up. Like, yeah, he's like the water boy, but like he plays, he has minutes.
Right.
So they're like, yeah. Even though you turned the puck over that time, Casey, good job.
Though
You got it deep in there in the zone. Good job, buddy. But you shot it, even though you passed it directly to the defenseman, you at least got the turnover. You got the puck for us for 3 seconds. Good job, Casey. Like, I'm just, I don't know.
I do think
he's gonna come. Right. I think
he's
right.
an effort guy, right? Maybe he's your captain.
Yeah. Okay.
So when we were talking about the multiple different ways to create your team, right, in hockey, it's have that balance, that two-way balance, like Boston does today, who's going to break the NHL record for wins.
Yep.
Yeah,
they're good.
Not every team gets a Patrice Bergeron for 15 years either.
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna rename the Selke,
right.
the Bergeron
They are.
award, right?
Probably.
But there's multiple ways for a football team to win, right? And it's fairly clear that Buffalo's football team is taking a specific direction.
Yeah.
So far, in which way they're thinking about winning, right? And that seems to be by outscoring their opponent. And I don't know if that was the initial plan, or if it was Leslie Frazier left and they said, we're going this route. But either way, all of the Bills signings so far have been offense. Okay, so let's go through them real quick. Okay, they got their backup quarterback in Kyle Allen, who's Josh Allen's best friend, and
people think he's gonna compete with Barkley. Like, that doesn't. No, put Barkley back on the practice squad. Like,
he's not. They're not close. Kyle Allen started games,
right?
I mean, it was for Houston and maybe the Redskins, but he started games.
Yeah.
Did he have more pick sixes than touchdowns?
I don't know. He didn't have more than Peterson and Peterman, and the Bills started Peterman twice over Allen. So
I gotta see these stats. Hold on.
That's it.
2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and I think at least two of them were pick sixes. So about the same amount.
that's fine. That's fine to me. He's got a fairly good arm. He's not. Look,
Everything's fine. Sorry.
No, that's fair. But no, for your backup quarterback to Josh Allen, I would rather have him than
I mean, if Josh Allen gets hurt and we have to turn to Kyle Allen, I mean, the season's over anyway. Like,
right, and it was the same last year.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have. I don't know. I feel like I would much rather have Allen be back up over Barkley, because I feel like every single time Barkley's in, it's like they tell him,
Barkley's
okay,
not
pass
be
to
the
this
backup.
person.
They signed Kyle Allen to be the backup. He's the backup.
Yeah, just stash Barkley again. Just keep stashing Barkley until he either doesn't want to do it or retires. I mean,
Josh just keeps saying that everyone in the room in the quarterback room loves each other and all that kind of stuff, right? And so by bringing in Allen, you're just keeping the vibe, right?
Yeah.
Or improving the vibe even.
Mm-hmm.
So even if it was just a signing for Josh because he wants his golfing buddy here, then okay.
I mean, didn't they kind of do that in Barkley too?
Well, that's why Barkley's still around.
Right.
Yeah. So next signings, let's talk about offensive line. They've signed David Edwards, who started about 30 something games for the Rams. That signing just came down today.
Yeah.
He's a guard. Played both guard positions. They signed Connor McGovern from the Cowboys, who is a guard
He's 26.
and has played who?
Edwards.
Yeah, he's. Are you saying he's young?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, this isn't who I was thinking of. I thought they signed the New England guy.
Oh. No.
But this is he. Okay. Yeah, I like this. I like that.
This is a good signing, I think.
Yeah.
McGovern, they're saying, is going to start at left guard. I guess there's a battle at right guard between Bates and Edwards and Bucker.
Buttiger? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or are they just saying it's Bates and then have Edwards and
like Bucker?
Yeah, and are the backup guards.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, David Edwards started a bunch of games, so I don't know like what the thought is there. I didn't see anything where he was like
It doesn't
McGovern where he was like, they told me I'm gonna start at left guard.
They did.
Right. Like they told that to McGovern.
Right.
But I haven't seen anything with that with Edwards, so that either makes me think like
He
they
signed
want
as a
him.
backup.
Yeah, he either signed as a backup or like they're gonna have him be like the sixth defenseman or offensive. Jeez, the sixth lineman for them. Where like maybe Bates doesn't play every single snap, but they want to put Edwards in on like pass pro or something, or like maybe they think Edwards can play tackle. I don't know, but I doubt.
Well, they
I doubt
brought back
that one,
Quisenberry
yeah.
to be a swing tackle, which is fine.
Yeah, he was terrible.
It's fine, right?
It's fine. Everything's fine.
Guys, they brought back Dodson at linebacker. They brought back Jordan Poyer at safety, Cam Lewis at safety, and Bucker. Now let's talk about the fun guys. So they signed Damian Harris at running back to replace Singletary.
I mean, they talked up.
Harris is 4 inches taller than Singletary and 20 pounds heavier.
I mean, he's gonna start, right?
Yeah, he's the starting running back, I assume.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so why spend all this time talking up James Cook then and being like he can be a starter? Like, did you not think you would be able to get Harris?
Like, I don't know. I mean, why would they sign Harris on the same day that Singletary signs too?
Right.
Singletary signs and then they go out and sign Harris, and they signed Harris for half the amount of money that Singletary signed for.
Yeah, and if you look at the stats,
crazy.
like their best years are very, very close. I think he blew him away as far as like touchdowns in that year.
Yeah.
I think he ended up with like 15, which Singletary never gets
led
that
the
high.
league last year.
Not last year, 2 years ago.
ago.
Right. Yeah, so I think it was like 15, 16.
Mhm.
And it was like 960, and I think Singletary's like highest season ever was like 950 something or whatever. So,
well, I mean, that's been the thing with Harris is that was the thing that everybody said was like, oh, watch out for the signing because he's been in a committee in New England.
yeah,
Right.
So like he hasn't had that opportunity. I mean, he hasn't had above 500 carries throughout his entire career or something.
Yeah. I think he's built like a bowling ball, right? Like I think he's a good in between the tackle guy, and I think we've watched him break off enough big runs against us specifically to think that he could come here and do that too.
Yeah. I mean, when you're battling Ramondre Stevenson, it's different than battling James Cook.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he also had that offense. Even like Stevenson was a rookie, not this year, but last year, right? So he would have had that offense. And Stevenson didn't come in until maybe halfway through the season because he was in the doghouse. So he definitely had a good stretch where he was the guy, but New England is just an enigma when it comes to running backs anyways, and everybody knows that. It's like, they're not going to give somebody too much. You know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah.
so it'd be interesting to see what he could actually do. I'm excited. Watching him play, he was always somebody we had to watch out for, especially, with
Yeah,
Mac
you
Jones
get
being
nervous.
a
You got nervous for him. I always got nervous.
Yeah.
When they're playing New England, I'm like,
The running
and
backs.
Harris would
Yeah.
get the ball.
This year he
I
broke
was
up like a
much more
60-yard
nervous about.
touchdown or whatever.
I was much more nervous about Harris than I am about Stevenson.
Yeah.
Stevenson, I feel like you could stop, even though he's bigger and
Stevenson's going to average you more yards, I feel like a higher chunk per gain, just because he's a little bit more elusive and, like you said, a little bit bigger. But, man, what's his name gets through a hole, and he's hard to tackle, too. He gets low. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I wonder if they were trying to bring Singletary back.
Well, that's what I was.
And then he takes the meeting with Houston and signs. And I think there's maybe, that maybe they were trying to get him back. And then he goes and does that.
Or they were
like,
waiting to see.
Yeah.
Like they
That's
weren't.
true.
I think that they were waiting to see where Singletary was at. Like that was my thought when they were like, they weren't like, we're offering you a contract. They weren't like anything. They were like, talk to us when you're ready to talk to us, kind of thing. We would like to have you back at the right price.
Right.
He's one of those kind of players, right?
Right.
And then he comes back and says, I'm getting 3.4. And they say, well, we can get a better version of you and Damian Harris for half that. So bye. You can go. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of how I see it going down.
Question, why wouldn't they? Okay, so Harris must have wanted a chance at a starting position where Singletary clearly can't think that he's going to start in Houston, right? But it's like, why wouldn't Houston just go for Harris? You know what I mean? Like, why did they pay him that much more money for a backup? And
maybe, well, I don't know. That was kind of confusing to me. I was like, they're taking carries away from Pierce.
I mean, I get you want to incentivize guys to come there.
Yeah.
Which it's like, oh, well, he got 3.7. Like, I mean, I'm sure that is what made him sign there. You know what I mean? Like, and not many other factors.
Right.
But it's wild when you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, you just don't know why they do what, you know what I mean? Like in their head, it's like, I don't know. Maybe they just felt Harris didn't want to come there because it was a second spot. I don't know.
Harris has also only fumbled 3 times in his career.
Oh, the fumble difference is ridiculous
10
between Harris
for Singletary.
Harris and Singletary. No, but if you look at it, fumbles per carry, like per number of carries, it's like Harris has a fumble every like 200 carries or something, and Singletary's is like every 50.
I was gonna say 50. That's funny. Yeah. I like the signing, but yeah, I don't know for Singletary. I don't know why. I mean, I get it because of the money, obviously, but you're not. I don't know. I don't know what the plan is there. Because why would you want to? Why would you want to cut out of Pierce's take out of Pierce's carries?
That was my thought. Was
longevity?
Why are you doing that?
I mean, I don't know. Unless you're gonna try to keep him for 8 years.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look,
is he that good? I mean, is he the type of guy who you're looking at going?
Yeah. If you're Houston,
you're really going like franchise running back, somebody we want around, or can you just say, let's get our 5 years out of him. He's gonna blow a tire after 5 years, like every running back does, and then.
But that makes this signing even less sensical.
That's what I'm saying, though. I mean, so is Houston looking? I mean, they must be looking at Pierce that way.
I would, Pearson Singletary. Yeah. I mean, obviously, they ran a lot with, other guys last year, whether it was Burkhead or there was another guy they had too, but was it Agbawe or what?
Well, how's Pearson pass catching?
He's good. No,
Yeah,
that's
he's
I'm
good.
I'm telling you, like he's got I'm pretty sure he had a over 5-yard average last year
Yeah, I mean,
as a rookie.
Well, Singletary averaged 4.6.
well, my thought was maybe they're bringing in Singletary for passing, but
4-3.
I mean, if he's able to catch,
4.3 for
Yeah.
Pierce.
Yeah.
I think of Pierce more as a thumper. It's
Yeah. I mean, I thought he had a lot more touchdowns. 2022. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, he was a rookie last year, so
Yeah. maybe they just weren't completely.
I mean,
sold.
I think you really gotta go past like week. You know what I mean? Like past like week 5 or 6 before he even really started to.
yeah,
For a while there, it was confusing as to why they weren't using him.
I agree. He was on my fantasy team, but then he ended up as one of my best fantasy players. I mean, in the
by
end,
the end of the year.
Yeah, that's what right. Yeah. Well, they were giving him a good amount of carries too, though.
they were, and maybe that's it. They just felt like they ran him too much.
And then, because he got hurt, and then his carries dipped back down at the end of the season. I don't know if you remember that, but they started running with, like they started limiting him. They didn't say he was hurt, and they didn't take him out, but he just didn't play as much.
Yeah. Well, whatever. He's gone.
It's fine.
He's the Texans' problems now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah.
They traded away Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, but they have 2 high first-round draft picks. So
Who?
the Texans.
Yeah, but they're taking a quarterback with
With the first one, with the
the
second
first
one,
pick.
you take your wide receiver, and there you go. You have your quarterback wide receiver connection for the next 5 years.
what's their second pick? Like 10?
Perfect place.
Who are the Panthers going to take?
Well, people for some reason think they're going to take Anthony Richardson, which I think is weird to me to have that go. But they met with Stroud. I think before.
Well, it's because today was Alabama's pro day.
Yeah, but they didn't meet with. I don't think they met with Young. Like the way they met with Stroud.
Yeah, I mean Stroud was talking about
They went to like dinner with
the
Stroud.
Teppers
Yeah,
and
he went to,
the GM and Frank Reich and all that.
Oh, you're talking about Indy.
What?
You're talking about Indy?
No, Frank Reich's now the head coach in Carolina. Remember?
Oh, shoot. Yeah, now I remember. Carolina, they have number 1 pick, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So then that's probably where they're going to go. I would assume.
Unless it's all a smokescreen. So, if you have,
Well, that was weird.
let's say you have,
We had a guest for a second. I was like, oh. Did we have a surprise guest?
It's Noah's second phone. He's adding a phone, or his hearing aid. There we go.
yeah, Judge got this guy.
So you take Stroud and NJG or whatever his name is, JGN,
Jackson Smith and Najigma.
JSN. Yeah. You know what they were saying about not Stroud? Who's the other guy?
Young? Bryce Young?
Bryce Young. Yeah. He was all the because yesterday was Alabama's pro day, right?
Right.
And today was Ohio State's.
Yeah.
So they were saying at Alabama's pro day that Young looked better than Stroud.
King of the Hill's on.
in that
I think Young will be the better QB between the two of them.
I don't know. I don't know who will. I have no idea.
He's not going to be Tua. I know that.
He's not going to be that good or that bad.
That bad.
But two is not bad.
Oh yeah, most accurate quarterback. Yeah,
He's not bad.
yeah, sure.
He's fine.
He's fine. Everything's fine.
So the Bills also signed Deontay Hardy,
Yeah,
wide receiver, New Orleans, speedster.
I like the idea of the things that they can do with him because if they use him the same way that they did in New
McKenzie.
Orleans, in New Orleans, like they had him in like they'd have the wide
Fun sets.
receivers,
Yeah.
but they'd have them like bunched to one side,
Yeah.
all together with like him hidden, like in them, and then like
'Cause
they
he's so
do
short.
right? They do like a screen or something, and they'd be able to block for him, and he'd be gone because
Right.
nobody knew he was there.
Speaking of blocking receivers, the number one blocking receiver in the league, according to PFF last year, was Trent Sherfield. And guess who signed him?
Go us!
The Bills.
It's a nice signing.
It's a good signing in the sense of it helps the running game without grabbing that second tight end yet.
Is he from LA or where was he before?
Miami.
Oh,
He
you're
wanted to
talking
come play with an elite quarterback.
the wide receiver. Okay.
Yep.
For some reason, I thought you were referring to a lineman.
No,
Trent
no.
Sherfield.
Sherfield.
What's the other one? Saffold.
Hardy.
Saffold's gone.
Yeah, I got you.
David Edwards and Connor McGovern are the linemen they've signed.
Okay. Interesting.
They have a lot of depth at line suddenly,
Good.
which is nice,
Yeah, good.
right? They need another tackle to push the tackles.
That could be where they're going in the draft. They could think one.
No, all of this is telling me that they're going defense in the draft.
Take that linebacker out of Iowa.
Campbell.
Yep.
We're gonna do a mock draft before the show ends. So,
okay, a 7-rounder.
well, we're not gonna sit here and wait 15 minutes per pick.
Okay.
So yeah, the thing about so the thing about Damian Harris, right, is that we said he's kind of a level up from Singletary.
Right.
Deontay Hardy is kind of a level up from McKenzie. Right? Because one of the things that bothered me most about McKenzie was his field awareness. He didn't have it in the sense that there were at least 3 times last year where he needed to run out of bounds, and his first instinct was to cut back inside instead.
Yeah.
And that bothered me so much the first time he did it, and then the second time he did it, I was like,
Cost us the game?
no, the third one cost us the game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that's when I was like, goodbye.
I'm fine with them cutting McKenzie.
I'm happy that he signed on with Indy. I'm happy he's there. He's now the face of the franchise.
Wasn't he there before or no? Where was he
in
before?
Denver.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they don't need McKenzie. I don't know. He's just not. No.
It was time for him to go.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at. Speaking of Denver. You ever been there? No, me either. Yeah, I heard it's nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah. No, speaking of Denver, Jerry Jeudy is allegedly on the block.
Mm-hmm.
And you know who else is on the block? DeAndre Hopkins.
Yes.
Who's a Buffalo Soldier.
Either. I don't care. But get one. That's the way I feel. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Judy. That's fine. If it's Hopkins, fine. Get one of them, though.
Okay.
I think it would be dumb to not.
Okay. Even if Hopkins is just on the 1-year deal.
Yes, because also these signings aren't like what they've done in the past. And I think like you were saying earlier, I think Frazier leaving does have some play into it because they're not really touching the defense.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. But so far, they've basically redone the offense. They haven't had a wide receiver like Hardy. They haven't had a wide receiver like Sherfield. So that's two different things that you're adding in now. Edwards and McGovern are probably better to me than Saffold, Bodker, Brown, majority of the linemen you had last year.
Tommy Doyle.
Yeah. So that's a new thing right there. And then you bring in Damian Harris, which is huge.
Right.
So,
and you know who we didn't talk about was Zane Anderson because he was a signing earlier on.
Yeah.
But an athletic freak back in the safeties.
He's also from Kansas City.
Also played in Kansas City, but he's 6'4", something like that, and ridiculously athletic. And to have that back there, I mean, we lost Jaquan Johnson, God forbid. But I mean, if he's replacing Jaquan Johnson and he's as good as advertised, I would be much more comfortable knowing Hyde or Poyer goes down that we have him.
Yeah.
Because the whole Hamlin thing still has me worked up. I still have trouble thinking about him playing. So that doesn't mean he won't. It just means I'll cringe every single time he takes a hit or lays a hit.
So that, okay.
Is this breaking news? Or?
Yeah, it's about the Lamar Jackson thing that we were talking about before the show with Ken Francis. He denied to ESPN's that he contacted teams on behalf of Jackson.
And Jackson denied that he even knows the guy, right?
Yeah.
So that's that.
That's weird.
So Odell or Judy, is there one you'd rather have, or you're just like get one? I mean, that's where you started was get one, but is there one you'd rather have?
I think I'd rather have Hopkins because how big he is, how physical he is, just his height. I mean, I just think that would be nuts. I just think that would be like a Matt Stafford to Megatron connection where Josh would just be like,
there's nobody.
Go get it.
There is no other Megatron.
I know that, but I think if out of big,
I was thinking
receivers,
about that the other day.
But I mean,
I was looking at the year Megatron got drafted, and there are 7 Hall of Famers from that first round.
Yeah.
Adrian Peterson was in there. 5 other Hall of Famers. But
Kelvin Johnson was in there. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not saying it would be I don't think we'll see another Megatron for a good long while. But if there was something that were to mimic that, I feel like the Hopkins to Josh connection could be even more special than what him and Diggs have. Because Diggs is an excellent receiver. Do not get me wrong. But the ability to have somebody that tall who can also run routes and is also one of the best at their position.
Isn't he only 6'1"?
He's a no. Yeah. Okay, never mind. But Diggs is
he's just got the leap.
Yeah, but I don't think. Yeah.
No, Diggs isn't tall either.
Yeah.
I think he's 6'1" or 6
Diggs
feet.
Is 6 foot. But I also don't think Diggs has that leap. I don't think they have anybody who has that ability, who has the abilities that Hopkins does. And I just think, but I also think bringing in Judy would be awesome too, because
would
then
be
you
a-
have two Diggses, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you would get different dynamics from both receivers, right? So,
But I just feel like either my point is just go get one, because either way, you'll have a defense going. Well, if Diggs pops off, they'll be like, okay, we have to shift our focus to Diggs. Then the other one should be open, and that's what
Yeah.
bringing in both of these receivers will be able to do. They'll be able to do this for each other. If one's having
it's
a bad
what
game,
we
the other one
expected
should
from
be open.
Davis last year,
Right.
right? It's what we talked about. It's what everyone talked about with Gabe Davis last year. Yeah.
Thought he'd be back quicker. I don't know.
It's what all of that. I mean, it was all of the hype with Davis. Period. Right. And so when you can actually get an established guy
Right.
who has actually proven that he can do what we expected Gabe Davis to do.
Yeah.
I agree. Making the money work scares me.
Yeah, but I mean,
you have to
mean,
shuffle out at Oliver. We know that, to make either of these trades work.
right.
And
But I also think that you could probably go back. I think you could probably go back to Josh or somebody. I'm sure you could find that money, and I'm sure you could do it by saying this is who we want to bring in. And I think either Hopkins or Judy should be able to would be enough to motivate anybody to be like, okay, fine. Like maybe you can get it from a couple places again.
I think they're going to trade Oliver. I mean, it's the most logical thing to do to open up cap space. It opens up
10 million.
It opens up 10 million in cap space by trading him.
Yeah.
If you cut him or whatever, you get nothing.
Right.
Because you gain 5 million, but 5 million still hits the cap or whatever.
It's because it's his 5th-year option. So
right.
You
okay.
wouldn't get the option. You wouldn't get anything. Yeah, his dead cap
is his whole salary.
Yeah. So right, if he's released, it's that 10.7, but if he's traded, it's 0, and you save 10.7.
Right. So you get that nearly 11 million back, and so you get that back, and
yeah,
I mean that's the most logical thing to do. He's talked about already going to the Bears. The Bears have put feelers out there.
Give us Edmonds, and we'll give you
Oliver. There's a third option. Odell Beckham.
I mean, he already came out and said where he wants to be. He said he wants to be in New York. Him and Alan Lazard followed each other.
Okay.
I mean, I don't like the idea, but I'd rather them trade for Judy or Hopkins, and I don't
really like the idea of OPJ. I don't like it.
CJ, do you have a preference between Judy and Hopkins? Because whatever, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd go Judy just because of the age, and
you've got 2 years with him versus Hopkins. You have 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Go get one. I mean, I really don't. It really doesn't matter to me. Like, you would have the 1 year with Hopkins, but I mean, if you win a ring with him, does it matter?
Right. My fear is that it's another Von Miller where you're bringing in $19 million in cap space, and you're going, "Oh, we're gonna win a ring because we got another superstar," and then if it doesn't work again, you're sitting there and you're getting out of Brandon Beane what you could get out of Russ Brandon, right? Is bringing in these aging superstars to sell to the fans every season, which was Russ Brandon's specialty at keeping the stadium full. It was, I'm going to bring in Mario Williams. I'm going to bring in Terrell Owens. I'm going to bring in, whoever. And that's and that's going to be your big signing. That's going to make the fans all happy, and that kind of thing. And that's what I'm afraid is if it doesn't work with Hopkins, and you're taking on this huge salary.
Well, here's what I'll say.
I mean,
I don't think
guess the other
you're
side of
even
that
sitting
is
there. If it doesn't work again, I don't know if you're sitting there saying,
Brandon Beane's decision.
well, no. I don't know if you're sitting there. I think you might be sitting there saying, is he on a lukewarm seat?
Right.
More than you are going, damn, another year. I think if they do all this and they bring in Hopkins or they bring in Judy, and let's say they have a great draft and they still bring in guys defensively, like they're not done with free agency. They find more money, whatever.
They trade Ed Oliver and sign Puna Ford.
Yeah, something. I think if it doesn't work again, I think they need to make the conference championship game.
Or the Super Bowl.
Well, I think if they make the Super Bowl, their jobs are saved. It doesn't matter. They can lose the Super Bowl 52-0, and they'll be fine.
Say that.
No, I'm saying their jobs
will be fine.
But we won't be fine.
Our hearts will not be fine.
Well, we won't be fine, but their jobs will be fine. But I think that for there not to at least be even more questions where Brandon Beane might not be able to just go, we had injuries, whatever. We have this roster. The roster's good. Hold on, let's slow down. I think if they don't make the conference championship game next year, I don't think he can do that again, and everyone will be like, fine. It's annoying that you did that, but it's fine.
Well, they're probably going to extend Hyde one more year, right? Because Hyde is up this year, and they'll go Poyer and Hyde together. Right. Let them walk into the sunset away on, at Oliver's horse. Here. Yeah. And anyway, that's and then you're getting even less experience on defense. You're all of those kind of things. I mean, I didn't love bringing Poyer back, but at the money, it is. That was pretty fantastic.
CJ, what do you think here? Do you think if it doesn't work, what do you think? What do you think the expectation is for next year? Do you think it's just going to be the playoffs and look good like it has been? Because I feel like that's kind of been the way it's been.
Right? I think they have to go into every year, especially with Josh at the helm, thinking we are good enough to win a Super Bowl. Now you get grinded down throughout the year. Some years are worse than others. I think last year was, heavily grinded down throughout the year, and it just took a toll on guys. So I think if you're really talking, bringing in either one of those guys, which would be Judy, Hopkins, or OBJ, then I think what that answer is at that point. If that doesn't happen, I think you're looking more at a longer window. They're looking at it more as okay, we have a longer
mini
window.
Rebuild.
Not necessarily, but just okay, well, either we put all our eggs in now and try to get one here next year, right? And you'll see that if they go after one of those top guys.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't happen, then I think they're just in their mind okay, well, we're not doing that to have longevity. And, and I think that chips fall the right way. They look at it like we could be in the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Regardless, every year. You know what I mean?
They better be. To your point, when you have Josh as your quarterback, you better be thinking Super Bowl every year.
All right. Are we not a consensus top 4 or 5 team right now? Even after playoffs were over, and you know what I mean?
True.
I guess Philly, San Fran. Oh,
yeah. San Fran got pretty good.
Yeah.
Like you said, I don't know.
But we could be hard. In the top 10, but you could make the case. I always feel for at least 8 to 5 to 8 teams in the entire league that can win the Super Bowl every year. So, I mean, we're in. I agree with you. I do think we're in that category, but like, I feel like the question should there should be more questioning if we get bounced in round 2 again.
Questioning a being.
I'm just the whole thing. I mean, I mean, if they lose again the way they did to Cincinnati and this coming year, then I think we have to be really sitting here going, what the heck's going on?
The deer in the headlights quote.
Well, not even just that. I mean, if they go into round 2 or even round 1 playing the way they did against Cincinnati to end the year, then I think there's a problem. But I think if they lose in round 2 again, I mean, should their seats not be lukewarm? I mean, this isn't what we wanted. I mean, I guess the question is are we? I guess it's the question that we always have. Are we just fine with just making it, with just being a winner,
just being good, like really good?
Like, I guess my question is
a regular season winner.
At what certain point do we start to question them? And I feel like it should be if they lose again next year. I mean, I feel like they have to get very close to the Super Bowl or be in it next year for people to not at least begin to start sharpening their pitchforks.
I guess to CJ's point, do you feel that way even if they don't go after Judy or Hopkins?
And I don't know.
Or another receiver,
so.
Whatever, you know.
I mean, I think it should at this point be fair to say, yeah, it's been 4 years. But yeah, this is either year 5 or 6, right? I don't know. I think we're close. But I mean, I guess at what point are we allowed to be like, okay, you guys keep saying this. I mean, it is the same thing every year. But these guys can do it. I mean, that's the way I feel. I don't know. How do you guys feel about it? I mean, do you guys feel the same way? Either one?
Go ahead, CJ.
I mean, I mean, looking back, I think the defense let us down greatly at the end of the season, and obviously after Vaughn left, and you know, it was noticeable, right? And
right.
My worry is, have you improved the defense enough? And granted, you will get Miller back to the point where you'll be able to contend with those Chiefs teams, those Bengals teams, you know, and the firepower they have offensively. And I don't know if they have yet. So you know what I mean? Unfortunately, till I see that show up in a game, a couple games in a row, you know what I mean? Like,
or are they saying we're going to win every game 45-38?
It's just, to me, that hasn't worked.
Have they gone all in on that theory though?
No, I think they waver. I think it feels like they waver and get away from it.
That's the problem I have with Bean. Is that, and I've talked about this before, but that he wants it both ways. He wants guys to develop. So he drafts these super young guys and wants to develop them over a certain amount of time. And then he also thinks, oh, we have a great roster. We're ready for the Super Bowl. Even though he's got this set of guys who are not ready. Just not. I mean, McDermott has one of the highest winning percentages of any coach. Like, I don't remember exactly what the stat is, but it's his win percentage is incredibly high. I'll put it that way. And it's higher and you know why. I mean, they win, right?
And that's why I feel like I don't I feel bad. Like I feel weird bringing this up, but it's like
No, I'm fine bringing up questioning Bean because I question Bean, and other people are more than willing to question McDermott, whether it be his game calling or his
What he's in
ability.
control of and what he's not in control of.
Right.
Questioning it. Yeah.
I mean, maybe they're bouncing on or relying on the fact that Frazier's gone and McDermott's calling the plays, and they're getting super confident that the defense will be better just because of play calling, which could scare me a little.
I mean, I don't like that. I mean,
But
I feel like that, that's
I'm
putting
asking.
I mean, if that's the case, to me, I feel like that's trying to put the eggs before the cart before the horse. There we go.
The eggs before the cart.
There's also some saying about
chicken or the egg.
I guess. No, okay. I don't know what I was
The
thinking
chicken
of
before the
with
horse.
chickens and eggs, but
the horse.
Yeah, I
with
mean,
the
I
cart
feel like
full of
that's
eggs.
putting the cart before the horse a little bit. I mean, yeah, McDermott was a great defensive coordinator, but
Was he? I don't know.
well, he got a head coaching job, so I mean, he had to be good at something.
He's white.
That's a conversation for a different pod. But no, I mean, yeah, he was a good defensive coordinator. His players loved him in Carolina. Luke Kuechly talked them up, so I take that at face value. But he also still has to be head coach of the rest of the roster. I mean, I know that sounds stupid, but I feel like
I agree.
that
and
should
like,
be.
I
Like,
wish
I feel like that's a thing.
it seems like everything never aligns, right? Because it's like if McDermott was going to take over defensive play calling, you should have done it while Dable was still here, and just said, "We have the guy to run the offense." Right? You don't need like me to have my fingers at least a little bit in the offense.
I guess that's the problem then, is that
right?
Right. I mean, we don't trust. I don't think any of us trust Dorsey yet.
Which is why I want that second tight end, because he'll have to rewrite his playbook.
Well, it can't be Foster Moreau. Did you see?
Yeah.
He got diagnosed with cancer while he was on a visit with the Saints.
Yeah.
Nuts.
I'd have liked him.
That's
Yeah.
He's 26.
Oh, I've watched him play. He's good.
He is good.
What? Shouts out to him though.
Yeah. Prayers up.
I was gonna do that at the end.
At the end. Yeah, we can do it again at the end. It was just it just popped into my mind because we were talking about second tight end.
Okay, so is Rodgers gonna end up with the Jets?
I think so, right?
Duh.
I mean, I think it's that or he retires. I mean, there's no way he can go back to Green Bay. I don't think Green Bay even wants him.
No, I think there's a way he goes back to Green Bay, and it's by saying, "I'm Aaron Rodgers," and your other option is Jordan Love.
That's true.
And saying, "I want to be here." You know what I mean? Like, I think that would go a long way. Like, just for him to come in and say, "Hey, I want to play here." You know what I mean? I just don't think he's communicated that to them.
Here,
right?
I guess.
yeah. I just don't think. I don't know. I don't think he's shown that, right? So that's why they kept their stance the way they've kept it, is because he has not shown that he's said anything publicly. You know what I mean? That it would imply that he wants to be there, handled anything like he wants to be there. So I think they're just going off of what he and it's compensation at this point, right? And it's like Green Bay can dig in as long as they want.
No, I think that's right. I mean, Green Bay, the Jets have no leverage, right?
That's the problem. Right.
They have what?
In getting Rodgers to their team. Green Bay can just sit there and say, you give
We
us
want
a
all your first
ransom.
round picks.
or we
Right.
don't give them to you, right?
Right.
And he can sit and he can be fined, and then
Because we
can go
have
about it
Jordan
that-
Love.
Right.
Which is why they've been talking him up all off season.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
In the
He's
scenario
annoying. He
where
annoys
they
me.
can't trade him to the Jets.
He's
Or they
waiting for
can't-
the draft, and then if they draft a wide receiver, he'll come back. Well, you'd think if they have Love, they have to draft a receiver in the first round. Like if that is their plan moving forward is Love, you cannot go into the seat like you lost Lazard, right? So like, who is your wide receivers in that?
That
Watson.
rookie.
Watson, Dobbs, right? But neither of those, you know what I mean? Like I still think you get another guy.
Yeah, they don't strike fear in anybody,
Wait,
but
they might have. Hold on. Keep talking. Sorry. Yeah, no, I agree.
no, I don't know what you were looking at. So,
No, I thought of something, but I was wrong. Yeah, I mean their first round pick's 15, so
Well, that's not bad.
I mean that's
There's
kind
one-
of the perfect spot.
There's a quarterback.
there's
Levis.
they would love Levis in Green Bay.
Yeah, because
Oh, it's such a dirty move
Walmart.
though. Like for Love. Oh,
Love and Levis.
feel bad for him. You know what I mean? Like just
To a
never
point.
getting
That would
that
be funny.
opportunity.
To a point, yeah. I mean, you're under contract, you're getting paid to do nothing.
Yeah. I know that's how like your work mind works, but I don't know if that's how an NFL caliber athlete's mind works. I mean, and my work mind. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'd love to sit somewhere and do nothing and be paid. You know what I mean? But like,
Yeah.
guys at that level with the
Right.
competitive they've gotten through for the past 20 years, it's like I find it hard to believe any one of them would want to sit there and be like, "Yeah, I'm cool with this."
Maybe
like,
Jordan Love.
Why
is.
would you be there? Like, why?
Yeah,
What pushed you to get that far in life? You know what I mean? If all of a sudden
Yeah.
you get there and it's just like,
What if his goal in life is to be Aaron Rodgers' backup?
Right. He went through all this
He went through all of this to live his dream
of being Aaron Rodgers'
of being Aaron Rodgers' backup.
Yeah.
there's a small possibility that that's the case. I'm sure.
I'm sure he's saying all
Yeah.
the right things.
I don't know how this.
yeah.
I've spent the last 4 years learning from Aaron, one of the greats, and
I mean, you have to feel the similarities between Favre and Rodgers and
Rodgers
him
and
and
Love.
Roger, right?
Yeah.
And so he has to feel that. He has to see that. You know what I mean? And think in his head, okay, well, this is what happened the last time they did this. This happened. So and I wonder how much that plays into his head too. Just
Yeah,
being coming
that's
after
also
such a great
pressure,
quarterback.
right?
Yeah. Oh, that's what I'm saying. Like he could fold under it.
Rodgers win a ring in his first 4 years with him.
his second season, right?
He's
Being a
got
starter.
he's got one, right?
He's got one.
That one didn't come in the second season.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was
I thought it-
probably 4 or 5 years in, maybe.
Okay.
I just can't remember what year it was.
But that's still
13?
fast.
That's okay. If that's still fast, then
No,
we
that's
need to
great.
be
Josh
more
doesn't have one.
patient with the Bills.
Facts. True. We're on Josh's 5th year?
Fifth. This will be his
6th, right?
sixth. Yeah, this is the first year of his contract.
Okay.
Of his contract kicking in. So
Nice.
Oh, Rodgers did it in 4.
I
So
thought we said it was
why
Rodgers
can't Josh
did it
do
in
it in
1.
6? Come on.
Rodgers did it in 1.
Yeah. So
Why
they were
can't we be
they were
exactly like the Packers.
they
Come
were
on.
comparing so what's going to happen, right?
No,
This-
you know what? You know what's so funny, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, Todd, but
no,
when you
no.
said earlier, "Oh, we're just gonna be a team that wins. We're never gonna do." The first team that came into my head was the Packers, and how long they've been winning seasons and
Right.
have not done anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, like, you want to talk about. And granted, they did just get rid of their guys like 2 years ago, right? So it was
Mhm.
probably like a 5-6 year run of just having winning more than 10 games and then losing in the first or second round. And you want to talk about like a fan base who is probably so over that, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
we're not even close to that yet. You know what I mean?
No,
Like
no.
unfortunately,
I
like,
agree. Like I was saying it almost facetiously, like,
okay.
like, oh no, we
Yeah.
win.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
I get
Like,
it. Yeah, yeah.
you know,
Like
like,
I'm trying to think of the phrase that you would use, but it's like
I don't know.
it's like champagne problems, right?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
First
so it's
world.
like
First
yeah,
world, yeah.
right. So it's like that is that really a problem for most teams? That's a great thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like for a majority, they'd be happy with that.
And think of the Bills 7 years ago.
And that's one my point
Like,
about
as a
McDermott.
fan.
I know.
Yeah,
As
my
a
point
fan.
about
feel like
McDermott and my point
stupid
about
bringing it
Bean
up.
is like they get so much leeway from bringing us out of mediocrity and irrelevancy that, like, I mean, yeah, I agree with you that it gets lukewarm, but I don't think I think they got another 3 years at least. You know what I mean? Like before we're even having that seriously having that conversation.
I would
They lose
agree
first
with
round or
that
don't make
if Kim
playoffs, that's a
Pegula
different
was still in
situation.
charge.
I think
I have these ideas that Terry Pegula just makes these decisions like, I'm gonna do this.
Mm.
And Kim would always be like, wait.
He seems to be an emotional,
yeah.
like, I don't know, like he'll talk to somebody really like them, you know what I mean, or whatever, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden it's like, what is the qualifications though? You know what I mean? Like, and
Right.
I'm not saying that I have tons of examples where he did something like that. It's just that's what he strikes me as.
I just have this. I don't know.
I think Bean should be on the hot seat before McDermott.
See, it's weird because I look at Bean as offensive and I look at McDermott as defensive. And to me, we've had more offensive success bringing guys in and doing that kind of stuff than we have through the draft and defense.
I don't know. I find it tough with a head coach when you have a guy like Leslie Frazier who has so much experience,
accolades, yeah,
in development and being a previous head coach and all that kind of stuff, where you can lean on him a little and like
focus on other areas.
Right.
Yeah.
Because like somebody, again, to go back to the Sabres, somebody was saying, let's bring in Pekka and McKee to be on the coach's bench. And I'm like, can we get someone who's not related to the organization?
Right.
Like
a good
to
old
be
boy.
a coach.
Mm-hmm.
Because like are
nothing
the
but
St.
yes
Louis,
men. Right.
Are the St. Louis Blues looking at Michael Pekka and going, oh, yes, he's qualified to be one of our assistant coaches. I know that Pekka's an assistant coach in Rochester. I know that he does their penalty kills and their power plays. I get it all. I understand it all. Like, but are other do other teams actually look at Pekka? I get, again, McKee. He just won last year. He won the OHL with his team.
Can you tie it into the Bills' point though?
That Granato, well, and my point was like Granato needs to pick his guys, not the GM. Okay. And
so same with McDermott, you're applying that to, right? Is that?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Like did McDermott really pick Frazier? And then if he did, he leaned heavily on him. And the only guy who Granato has, he got to hire last year, and he said, and he that guy had like 25 years of head coaching experience in different leagues. Like the EC, he has the most wins of any coach in the ECHL, like in the history of the ECHL, and that kind of thing. And Granato, like before this season, Granato was like, I'm going to lean heavily on him in certain situations, and that kind of thing. And I think McDermott did the same with Frazier in the beginning, right? And then we know that he and Frazier had the dust up in the middle of the first season, to the middle of their first season together. But obviously, like, they came back together, and but with Frazier gone, I just think McDermott let Frazier be Frazier, let Dable be Dable, and now you don't have either. And so McDermott I think McDermott has a little more leeway than Bean, because I know I'm all over the place, but I think he has a little more leeway than Bean because of that. Because I think the development on defense should be attributed to Frazier more than McDermott. Because this was my point. I remember now. This was my point. Your head coach should be your head coach. He's your delegator. He's your guy who's the manager of everything, and sort of telling everybody what what their roles are, what they should be doing, managing all of that. And like, I don't agree with like the Bill Belichick approach, the Bill Parcells approach, where or even the Sean McVay approach, where you're so deep into your team. And this is where I'm afraid McDermott's going. Like, you're so deep, and you're like that you just like get in a bad spot or something. But that was my point. Your head coach should have more leeway if that's what's happening.
Put a positive spin on this, TJ, because like I feel like I don't know.
I'm all over the place.
We're doom and glooming.
That's why I asked you to apply it to your Bills point, because you were getting into the Pekka situation. I'm like, okay, I love you, but how are we getting from McDermott Bills to a Rochester assistant? You know what I mean? I just
made the leap.
Tie it together. No, you did good. You did a great job. I got your point in what you were referencing. I totally understood, but people are just going to be like, where were we?
That's
you
good.
know what I mean? Like, where were we? Like,
that's good.
So that's all.
I needed a wrangler on that one. Because,
yeah, you kind of went
took a deep dive there, dude. Like, and it's like, because you know so much about Sabres, you know what I mean, that you can find these connections.
My brain goes.
Yeah. No, it's because of your knowledge, though. You know what I mean?
Me.
But it's like go into a genius's mind, and that's what you'll see is just all over the place, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Just boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean? Like, it's all connected. I swear to God. It's
more like a mad scientist, mad psychopath, sociopath. I don't know. No, I'm not a sociopath. I'm a psychopath.
Bottom line, we're ahead where we're supposed to be with the Sabres. Bottom line, we have Josh Allen for the Bills. You know what I'm saying? And we cannot get too far ahead of ourselves until we see the team next year. Let them make the changes they need to make. Let them do what they feel like that they need to do. And when we see the team on the field, we'll know for sure.
Preach.
So should we just? Because I feel like
I've taught him all about the madness. So
I don't know. I mean, people are going to have their expectations for next year, but I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I don't.
I think that's CJ's point. Let's find out.
All right, let's find out then. It'll be a long 6 months.
It's going to be a long summer.
It's going to be a very long summer. Especially, yeah. Oh God, because the Bills and Sabres are both good, so it's like and next year, I think you're.
Yeah. And the Bandits are the first NLL team to clinch a playoff spot.
Yeah, impressive, man, impressive.
It's
and opening week for the Bisons.
If there's one team
like in 2 weeks, I think.
If there's one team who is consistently good,
that's true.
It's the freaking Bandits. So, last football question. Ezekiel Elliott has narrowed it down to 3 teams he wants to play for: Eagles, Jets, Bengals. Where would you like to see him most? Where do you think he ends up? If we're just limiting it to those 3 teams, like, I don't want to hear like the Broncos or something.
You can go first, CJ. You got
There was a lot going on over here. Can you just repeat the question?
Ezekiel Elliott
Okay, I heard that part.
has limited his choices of teams he would like
the
to
Jets.
go to.
Okay.
Jets, Bengals, and Eagles.
Okay.
Where
Eagles
do you-
was my pick. There's the get back with the NFC team. There's the need at running back, right? They have Gainwell, and I just think that Gainwell and him would kind of do pretty well together. I
Yeah.
see absolutely no reason for him to go to the Jets. I mean, I understand the Breece Hall thing, but you have Breece Hall, Michael Carter. You know what I mean? Like, you have a few guys that have played a good amount of
Ty
snaps in there.
Johnson,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like a good amount of guys that played snaps in that running back room. So do you need him there? He's not going to start there. I don't like it for him. And then what was the Bengals? With Mixon there, I don't see that happening either. Even Pirine, I don't know if he'd push Pirine for
Pirine
better
left.
than Mixon
Pirine's
did.
gone.
Oh, okay. Then makes a little more sense. But I think he'd want a more featured role, and I think that only happens on the Eagles.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be cool to see him on the Eagles just so he would have to face the Cowboys twice. But in the end, I think the Bengals are going to make a really hard push for him because I think they like that idea of having a P9 to be able to take, I don't know,
Snaps from Mixon.
to take snaps from Mixon. I mean, yeah, but I mean, Mixon still is able to run for 500 yards in a game. So it's like, it doesn't really matter to them. But they like having that idea of that second good running back. So I think most of them, but the Eagles would be cool. No Jets. I'm good.
Do you think he's
I
still
also think that's a dumb signing for the Jets.
for the Jets? It's a dumb signing. I agree. I agree with you guys on the Eagles. I would like to see him end up there for the revenge factor mostly. And I'd love to see him just run down the Cowboys' throat every time.
It's the 2 games a year that he does well.
Right. And if that happens, then that happens, you know? So, what else did I have? March Madness. How'd your team do?
They're in overtime right now. They're up by 2.
Oh, they're both of your
way,
team.
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow, that's incredible.
I forgot.
They hit a game tying 2 with like 5 seconds left.
92.
And then the Noel kid for Kansas State tried to hit a 3 and he drove and he missed the layup. And then Michigan State just batted it out and gave no one a chance, and they just went to overtime. Tied at 92 with $1:29 left.
Interesting.
It's 92-92 in a March Madness game.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's madness.
Madness. It's the first overtime game of the entire thing, though.
Yeah.
That's also wild because last
year it was the
year-
most overtime games.
there were like 5 on the first day or something.
Yeah.
So
trivia question. Who scored their 60th last night? McDavid scored his 60th goal. He's not going to get. Okay. 30 years ago, 2 players scored the same amount of goals in the season.
wait, how long ago?
30 years. Exactly 30 years.
Wayne Gretzky.
2 players scored the same amount of goals, not 60 goals. It was much higher in the same season.
30 years ago was in the 90s.
Yeah, 93.
Okay.
92, 93 season. Gretzky is not correct.
Okay, is it a Sabre?
One is a Sabre.
Okay. LaFontaine?
LaFontaine was a passer.
But he wasn't in 90s, right?
LaFontaine was not the center for this player.
McGillney?
Yes.
I was going to say McGillney, but I thought it was too late. Okay. So then there's another player who scored as many goals as him. That's
They
what you're
scored
saying?
the exact same amount.
in 93.
He was a rookie. He's in the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
There you go.
He
was a
is
rookie in
not.
93.
He is not a North American player
Congo.
or a Russian.
It's not like Sundin or something, is it?
No. If I give you the number of goals, would it help?
Maybe.
76 in one season.
92, 93 season.
Yeah.
76 in one season.
Mogilny had 76 and one other player.
Salan. I don't know how to say it.
Oh, you cheated?
Yeah.
Solani.
There you go.
Oh,
Temu.
okay.
Timu Solani.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep. That's it.
Yes. What'd I get?
You cheated.
Oh.
A pat on the
I
back.
mean, do you have video evidence of this?
I have me going, oh, you cheated, and you going, yeah.
Plead the fifth.
There you go.
Fair enough.
You got out of it.
Yep. All right. Shall we wrap?
Okay.
We're not gonna do a draft tonight.
Good idea.
I was going to end with the draft, but
We can save it. We got time. Yeah, so we still got a couple of weeks. All the pro days haven't even happened yet. So
Yeah.
that'll change the pick. No, that'll change.
no, but I wanted
because-
to record how our boards would change.
Well, it'll change the board because I don't know if you guys saw, but Cam was awful at Arbon's pro day
yeah.
and basically tanked all their wide receivers draft stocks. So but made it to the end. We appreciate you for watching. We'll do draft next week, week after. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Well, I really did
Be
want to
here.
end with the draft. Be here, show up, like, subscribe, all that stuff Noah says.
Interact with us on Twitter at GameDay716. Follow us on YouTube and hit the bell, and you'll get notifications every time we go live. Yeah, that's all I got. So stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, and go Sparty.
Prayers up.
Stay sunny, Buffalo.
Prayers up to Foster Moreau.
Let's go.